Hey guys, welcome back to Sensei's Journey, and today we're going to be talking about another iron skill leading up to a real anime training video that we're going to be doing later. Today we're going to be talking about Nukite, Spearhand. So specifically about how to strengthen the Nukite. And what we're going to do is use a bucket filled with sand initially, and then we'll kind of move up from there. So much like the progression for iron palm stuff, you'll move from sand to pea gravel, and then eventually steel shot. It's a much longer process because you're only doing like 100 or so strikes a day in that training. So it's very long, months and months and months. Honestly, the longer you spend in each phase, the better. So if you do 100 strikes a day, for a year in the sand or whatever, then that's not going to hurt you at all. You're going to still get pretty tough hands. And at the very least, it's going to make sure that you're not overdoing it. So let's talk about actually how to form the Nukite. So all of the fingers are pressed together. You've got tension coming in this direction. The thumb is tucked underneath the palm. The fingers are straight. This is different. This is a different setup than if you were doing shuto, which is like a knife hand strike, which is set up like this, and you would hit with the outside of the hand here. People call it like a karate chop. This is different than that. So the shuto would be like that. Nukite is like that. And you want to make sure that it's not overextended. So you don't want the fingers going back this way, and you don't want them tucked that way. You're going to try to keep it as straight as possible. So there's some debate about whether or not the Nukite is actually used for striking. And I mean, some people talk about it as like, in the when it's in kata, that it's the bunkai is grappling, and I've seen some pretty interesting thoughts on that. But I mean, that's not to say that it also can't be used as a strike. I know that I've even with the toughness that I've got on my hands, I'm able to poke people with my fingers, and it's like ow. So I'm sure that somebody who really specialized in Nukite could do some serious damage. And I've seen some crazy videos. I've seen a video where a karateka puts his hand into the side of a pig that's hanging up, and that's just ridiculous. But yeah, not the point. Anyway, so Nukite, like that, boom, sure, you can hit it straight on in various ways. You'd be hitting like throat, eyes, under the chin, under the jaw, hitting like soft spots like underneath the armpit or in the belly, groin, anything that isn't like super hard. Like you wouldn't want to hit an elbow with that. That's not good. Or like skull, because that's just much more likely to hurt yourself. But if you're going to use it as a weapon, it's got to be tough. So we got to start somewhere, and we're going to start with the sand. So got a little twist in it. I'm doing it nice and easy so that you guys see, and I'm trying to drive it down in there. Keep the tension in the fingers as you strike. And I want you to think about, as it turns over, you're drilling down into it. I don't want you to think about, as it comes in, that that you're drawing like a circle like this. It wants to be straight line turning. And you're also not coming in and like lifting like that. It's coming in drilling straight down. And you can do it faster, but I kind of like to make sure that I've got the form proper on each of the strikes. So I do a little slower. At the very beginning, you may not be able to hit it very, very hard, and that's fine. You want to try to be as soft as possible at the very beginning. And then as time goes on and you've trained for weeks and weeks and months, then you can hit it a little harder. And then once you've done that for a few months, maybe a year, you can upgrade to pea gravel, which means you'll have to start hitting it softer again. And then same thing, you're going to stick with that for a long time. And then after that, you can upgrade it to something like steel shot, and you'll have to start hitting it softer again when you upgrade it. But it's just the process. You increase the hardness of the material. You have to step it back again in your training. Because at the very beginning of the training, especially with the sand, you may not only get that far in, and so the harder you hit, you get better. You're going to sink more and more into the sand. So at the very, when you get good at it, and you shove the hand down in there, and you're able to get all the way to the bottom of the fingers, that lets you know that you've got a pretty good handle on whatever it is you're doing. With the pea gravel, it's going to be a little rougher because it's a little sharper, and a little, since it doesn't have as much give as the sand does, you're going to need to be really, really careful with that. If you've got any kind of cuts on your hand or anything like that, don't train this skill just because you're going to end up making it worse. Or if you want to train it anyway, then tape it. Band-aid, athletic tape around it, and then continue to train. But this is one of those things that's consistency based, so you can't rush it. You got to go little by little by little by little, and then eventually you're able to toughen the hand enough that you're actually able to put that skill to use. Now, you may not ever actually hit anybody with it, but the toughness of the hands will improve, the finger strength will improve, and you'll be able to notice that when you're doing things that require you to push your finger onto something, like if you have to push something in or something like that. I used to work on an assembly line at BMW, and one of the things we had to do was push these little buttons into the cars. It's hard to explain, but this was very helpful in that. And I'll tell you what, after I got done with that job, my ability to just poke things was ridiculous. I'd poke people and they go, ow! So yeah, it's definitely something that you can train and make yourself stronger in, and it's just something that if you want to experiment with, go for it. Like a lot of these iron skills things are just about increasing toughness and finding something that you enjoy and sticking with it. I just do this kind of training with the Nukite training in the sand. It's kind of like a supplementary thing. I mainly focus on fist stuff, because boxing and whatnot. So I don't really have much of a use for that. I'm not going to hit anybody with a Nukite, but knowing that I can hit my fingers down into the sand like that and not hurt myself, it makes me feel a little bit better about the toughness of the hand. Anyway, it's pretty simple. As far as the routine is concerned, 100 strikes a day. Start off easy, build over time, upgrade your material after a very long time of training, and then repeat. That's all for Sensei's Journey today. If you have any questions about this iron skill or any of the other iron skills that we've talked about, please leave a comment. If you have any particular iron skills that you've heard about or body parts that you'd like to toughen, leave that in the comments also, and we'll kind of get into that at some point. I'm not a super, master at these things. I just kind of understand them from a professional level as a trainer, and from the experience that I've gathered working with people who, have these skills. So thanks for watching, and until next time, guys, good luck and train hard.